Hey everyone, Scott Cunningham, aka Scotsy Business. Today we're going to be talking about crypto Visa prepaid cards. And these are awesome cards. These are solutions now that you can spend your crypto in Canada. I'm not actually showing you the full card because it's got my information and the CVC and everything that obviously I don't want to be sharing, because you can also spend these online. But essentially, you can spend these anywhere that a Visa card is accepted. You can also spend them, or rather you can withdraw funds from them at an ATM that is compatible with Visa or Plus cards. One of the major drawbacks for these cards in Canada here is that they don't have Interac, meaning you can't insert the chip or tap. You have to swipe. And it's not really that big of a drawback, but if you really don't like interacting with people, like when I bought furnace filters with my Bitvo card at Walmart, I had to go over and sign, because you always have to sign when you swipe. So, that is something to keep in mind. But, for the benefit, it's really worth it, because one of the biggest resistance points and one of the most asked questions is, yeah, but can I spend Bitcoin at the grocery store? Can I spend it at the convenience store? Now you can. And I struggled to find a solution in Canada for so long. But recently at the Futurist conference in Toronto, I met the Bitvo team and the Localcoin card team, and they had the solutions. So I went and tested them. I loaded $50 worth of Bitcoin onto both of them. I had a little bit more issues uploading loading my Bitcoin to Bitvo, but the support team fixed that. There was no issues. And so for both of the cards, they're both reloadable prepaid cards. You can spend them anywhere Visa cards are accepted. You don't need a photo ID to get them, so there's no KYC, so that's really nice. It's a very fast, easy process. You don't have to give them a ridiculous amount of documentation or information. You can only withdraw them from where ATMs accept Visa or Plus cards, and you can view your entire transaction history online in the same way that you would with a bank. So it's got all the same functionality for the most part, with a few limitations. Now, where things get a little bit more dicey and it becomes more relevant to ask the question, which card do I want to go with? We're going to look at some of the differences here. And I've also linked the Bitvo limitations and fees link, and the same thing for Localcoin below. And I will add a Visa ATM compatible locator link, because there's a bunch of them online where you can search up Visa compatible ATM, and then you'll see a locator and it'll show you the nearest ones. The issue that I had was trying to withdraw funds from my bank ATM at TD Canada Trust, and it wasn't compatible with Visa cards, so I obviously wasn't able to do the transaction. And unfortunately, one of the drawbacks for Localcoin is that you can be charged even if a transaction fails. So I paid 50 cents even though I couldn't take out the money. So, not ideal, but as more companies release cards, these companies will be forced to improve, as well as a lot more people are using these and they're making more money, they might be able to lower some of the fees as they scale more in a more profitable way. But I digress. So for Bitvo, there's no fees to activate your card, and you don't pay any monthly fees. There's a $1 purchase fee for whenever you make purchases, so it's kind of not as ideal. And then $1 when you're withdrawing from an ATM. The big issue with Bitvo, though, is that your crypto, whatever you put in, I put in Bitcoin, stays in the form of Bitcoin and converts as I spend it. Meaning, if I put in Bitcoin and it's worth 5,000 at the time, and it goes up to 10,000, and then I spend it, okay, well, that's great because I'm saving money. But if I put it in at 10,000 and it drops down to 8,000, then I'm spending more Bitcoin than I wanted to spend for the same product. So volatility in the price of Bitcoin or whatever coin is kind of a big drawback for when you're using Bitvo. It's the opposite for Localcoin, but we'll get into that. And they do have a lot less fees, but the volatility is a huge issue for me. And once they eventually introduce stable coins to being allowed to be spent on their card, that will really solve the issue. And then you could just use DAI or Tether, or whatever you decide. That will probably solve the issue, and then Bitvo will be the better choice. Though I'm leaning currently more towards Localcoin. And, you might not agree, but we'll see. You can share your thoughts in the comments below. So with the Localcoin, the fees are a lot higher. So when you first get your card, it costs $5, and it costs $5 to load your money onto the card. Then when you load in the future, it's only $2. So that's not as bad. Changing your PIN costs $1.50, and if you want to check your balance at an ATM, that costs 75 cents. You could easily just check your browser on your phone or on your desktop, though, so there's no point in doing that. You do pay a monthly fee, though, of $2.90, so that is kind of unideal. And when you withdraw from an ATM, it costs $2.50. But when you spend at a point of sale system, it's free, whereas with Bitvo, it's $1. So you're not spending when you're just spending it like you would a normal card, but when you're taking out money from an ATM, it's going to cost you a bit more. But, it's a give and take relationship there. Although one thing that I did gripe about is that if you're using an ATM and the transaction isn't successful, you may get charged 50 cents, which is what I was charged. The good thing, though, about this card is that when you put your crypto in and you load it, it's instantly converted to Canadian dollars, so you don't have any issues with volatility. Now, mind you, if you put in Bitcoin when it's low, again with Bitvo, and it goes up, then you're not going to be complaining. But it's still a risk, because no one wants to have $100 on their debit card, and then one day it's worth $70, and the next day it's worth $120. So you only spend on the day it's worth $120, and on the days it's worth $70, you don't spend. If you're really, really frugal and you want to save as much money as possible, you might as well do that, and then just use your regular card on the days that it's worth less, and then use the Bitvo card on the days that it's worth more, and then you're not spending a monthly fee, so it doesn't really matter. But if you want to be using this crypto card every single day for all your purchases, you're better off getting the Localcoin card and paying the monthly fee, and then not having issues with volatility. You have a stable, usable card. However, again, once they introduce stable coins for Bitvo, it's going to be a lot more attractive because it avoids a lot of these fees. I also did have issues when I originally uploaded to Localcoin, but they solved it pretty quickly, so that wasn't that bad. But yeah, you can also go and check the fees and limitations here. It would be better if they could avoid the monthly fees, and if they could get rid of the decline transaction charges, because that's kind of annoying. But mainly the monthly fees is the big turnoff, I would assume, for most people. But you're kind of paying that as like a fee to avoid all the risks of volatility and the rest of it. So, it's a give and take relationship. Anyways, for Bitvo, I took out $10 from an ATM, and then with Localcoin, I bought the furnace filters at Walmart, and they both worked fine. But then they both didn't work when I tried to withdraw from the ATM at TD, because it's a bank and it wasn't compatible with Visa, I guess. That happens, and that makes sense why that was the case. But I didn't realize at first until I looked it up and realized that you have to make sure it is a Visa compatible ATM. And again, I will add a link for you to double check that. Overall, though, I'm pretty happy with both of these cards. They're both great cards, and they help you overcome, some of the major resistance points of crypto, where can I spend it at a regular store? Can I go to the movies? Can I do this? Now you can. And for the longest time, that wasn't possible in Canada. Now it is. So I highly recommend these cards. Thing is, one card might be better for you than the other card. So, decide which one works better for you. I don't personally have a preference, because there's benefits and drawbacks to both of them. So it really depends what you want to use. I haven't made a decision as to which I'm going to go with. But again, if Bitvo just comes out with stable coins, then that's an easy buy for me. Even though you have to spend $1. Well, here's the thing, right? It depends how often you're going to use the card. Because if I have to spend $1 for every point of sale transaction, then paying a monthly fee of $2.90 isn't really that bad. Because if you're going to if you're going to transact with it more than 3 times a month, you're actually better off paying the local coin card fee monthly to use that. Ideally, they would get rid of the fee and then they would be the more attractive card. But it's a give and take. So you have to decide which is more beneficial for you and what would you rather be doing. I already explained the 2 scenarios real quick again. If you're using it every single day, you're probably better off to go with the monthly fee one and avoid the charges for regular spending and no volatility issues. If you don't try to spend it every single day and you're really frugal, you can avoid the monthly fees and you will spend $1 when you use it. But if you're only spending it when Bitcoin is way up in value, then it's negligible because you're going to be saving a ton of money on all of your purchases by doing it that way. Let me know what you guys think though, and what your experience is with either of these cards, or if you know any other solutions in Canada. I would love to test them, because if there's something better out there, I want it for myself and I'd love to review it for you guys as well. And maybe in the future I'll get some footage of me actually using it, but I didn't have anyone to film me and I wasn't going to film it because then you probably like see me typing in my code or doing something. So I figured it was easier to just come back and share the experience with you guys afterwards. But yeah, let me know if you know of any other Canadian solutions for crypto Visa debit cards. And I appreciate that you watched to the very end. And if you did, make sure to comment #1ham in the comments below so I know that you watched to the very end. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. You are amazing. Have an amazing day. I'm Scott Cunningham, making Scott's Business, signing off. Cheers.